Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start off by admitting something in public I've never admitted before. I was confident in the military, but the day I left, my confidence dropped by probably about 300%. Mostly because I didn't know what I was going to do in the world. I think everyone feels this when they get out of the military. For some reason, it didn't go away. You know, I went to college, got my first job, started my own business successfully, but still, for some reason, every time I went to work, I felt like I didn't belong there. Not because I didn't actually belong there. I was hired by professionals. But why did I feel like when I went to work every day, there was a mistake? It was luck. I'm a fraud. They're going to find out any minute now. Has anyone in the room ever felt like that before? Raise your hand. It's good. It's good to hear. There's something called imposter syndrome, which actually they're starting to call the imposter experience because everyone goes through it. At one point in your life, you're going to feel this way, whether you recognize it now or you're not willing to admit it. That's fine. So I'm going to talk today about what imposter syndrome is, how to fight it, and actually how you can make it work for yourself. Let's start with a quick definition. It's the inability to digest your achievements as your own, okay? And also, you feel like you're going to be exposed as a fraud at any moment, especially when you're not actually a fraud. Now, this doesn't count for people who are really frauds. This is separate. If you're a fraud, you know you're a fraud. Typically, you know you're a fraud. This is different, okay? So I want to go over 3 really quick types. Okay, the first one is the obvious one. I'm a fraud. It's the feeling that when you come into work every day, I don't belong here. I didn't deserve this position that I got. I don't belong here. That's the one I fall into mostly. This is another one that I fall into as well. It's just luck. Has anyone ever felt like that? Every single thing you do. I've worked for 200 hours on one project, testing, configuring. Very hard to do for one person, okay? And afterwards, customers loved it. They would call in and say how much they appreciated me spending my time doing it. At the same time, I felt like, it's just luck. You know, even though I spent that 200 hours by myself doing it, something had to have gotten in the way. Caused that luck. You see, I can never digest that as my own. Okay? Last one is a little less obvious, but it's that compliment is wrong. For example, when you receive a compliment, there's 2 ways to receive it. Espen, you have a really nice shirt on today. Oh, no I don't. No, I don't have a nice shirt on. Come on. That's not imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is taking that compliment and saying, thank you very much for the compliment, but internalizing it and saying, no, actually, he didn't mean that. He really didn't mean that. He meant something else, okay? So, this was the first time I realized I had imposter syndrome. One of my favorite poets admitted to it. I had never heard of anyone else in the world admitting they had imposter syndrome until I was going to read her 12th book. She had a quote in it, Maya Angelou. How does she suffer from this? How in the world does someone this, 11 books? I haven't written one. I can imagine going on your 12th book and still feeling like a fraud. I hope I don't feel like that for the rest of my life, but this is what motivated me to research it and go to talk to people about their imposter syndrome and their imposter experience. Maya Angelou felt it. Some other people that have felt it admitted to it at least. Sonia Sotomayor, one of the most recent justices. Tom Hanks is a big one. There's a lot of popular people who don't exude imposter syndrome, but that actually have it inside, and they don't like to admit to it, right? Who would want to admit to that? How to fight it. Stop and breathe. This is the most important one, is as soon as I realized I had it, I could fight it. Okay? It's normal. Everyone feels like this, and maybe you feel it less than some other people. It's not based on, well, it is a little bit based on your upbringing and childhood. There's some research being brought into this, but basically, I think it's a human emotion to feel that you don't belong somewhere. That's what I think. Number 2, expect and prepare for initial failure. This is one of the reasons I was thinking I was a fraud, because for some reason I never failed. I know it sounds weird. When I got out of the military, I didn't have a chance to fail in my life. And I failed with my first business, although it was successful at first. We didn't want to take it to the extreme and make it our full-time thing because we couldn't get into it, right? So last one is my favorite one, and that's live with it. Okay, learn to live with it. It's not going away. You're going to feel this way a lot. Okay, especially if you felt it since a young age, you're going to feel it. The best thing to do is live with it, right? So here's what I want to go over, and my favorite part of this is how can we make it work for you? Imposter syndrome is not a bad thing, right? At the start of the speech, you might have taken it as, if you have imposter syndrome, there's something wrong with you, or you need to fix it, or you need to get rid of it, okay? That's not true. Imposter syndrome can be a good thing. You feel like a fraud, you prepare more, right? You train more. You keep up with the local and international, everything to do with your job, okay? That's how I've fought it. I don't want to feel like a fraud anymore, so I'm going to make sure every time I go into work, I know the night before I studied and I'm ready to go. That's how I fight it right there, okay? Number two, recognize that you do have some role in your own achievements. I know this is a weird one, but if you have an achievement in life, it's okay to be proud of that achievement. Okay? Don't go overboard with it. I think everyone understands that. But internalize that achievement as your own. Don't attribute it to someone, or attribute it to someone else. Okay? Take that achievement as your own achievement. And lastly, authenticity is a fraud in itself. So what does that mean? You're selling a car, right? Do you sell the same car or have the same sales speech for the 18-year-old, right, going to the college male? Is that the same speech you're going to give to the 72-year-old retired lady? Probably not, right? So does that mean, which one's your authentic self? Neither one. Authenticity is a fraud in itself when you're trying to make sure that you're authentic all the time. It's not going to happen, okay? Really quickly, in conclusion, you are not a fraud. Again, imposter syndrome is different from actually being a fraud. If you're a fraud, you know it. If you've lied, you usually typically know that. Imposter syndrome is when you feel like a fraud when you're not actually a fraud. This has affected my life positively and negatively. Negatively when I didn't understand what it was. It really did hurt my life. But as soon as I read that quote from Maya Angelou, started doing more research, I made it work for myself. I've released games, I know my achievements in life now. I can digest those as my own. So imposter syndrome does not affect me like it used to, but I still have it. Thank you very much.